Florida Republican Congressman and former Green Beret Commander Michael Waltz sits on the House Armed Services Committee. He joins us right now to explain. Congressman, Colonel, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Happy New Year.
Indeed. The president has reacted swiftly to what essentially Iran did through their proxies in Iraq. But you say he's got to do more.
Well, I think the president made the right move here, that the Iranians, through their militias in Iraq, thought they could hit us and hit our bases without much of a response. The president responded very strongly. That's what the Iranian regime respects. This was their counter move to get their militias to stage these protests. But at the end of the day, this is in keeping with the Iranian regime's behavior. They're going to continue to stoke this international crisis to get us to back down. That's what previous administrations have done. But they're using their proxies, and their proxies act as a buffer. We need to hold Iran directly accountable, whether that's through cyber or through sanctions or through even more direct means. But Iran will not back down until, it's like a bully. Until it's faced with force, it'll continue to do this.
Well, I think I saw one of the clips of the Ayatollah within the last 24 hours, and he was referring to the president, and he said, he can't do anything to us.
Yeah, well, what the regime wants to do is create a crisis that does a couple of things. One, it diverts its own population away from its crumbling economy. Our maximum pressure campaign is working, and the regime wants to create a crisis to divert them. And then number two, it wants to get the international community and folks here in Washington, the Democrats especially, to buy into this narrative that this is all President Trump's fault. But at the end of the day, this is Iran doing what it always does, which is stoking crisis across the Middle East through its proxies, and it has to be met with force. That's the only way that it is going to stop, is through that kind of a deterrent.
Colonel, you mentioned a moment ago some of the sound bites that we played earlier where members of the media have portrayed this essentially as Trump's fault, the reaction to what we have seen over at the embassy in Baghdad. Others have suggested, the Politico headline is Trump tries to avoid his own Benghazi. Do you see parallels between what happened in Baghdad over the last 48 hours and Benghazi?
No, I don't, actually. The only parallel is that it's an embassy. There are parallels, I think, with what Iran has traditionally tried to do in 1979 when it stormed our embassy in Tehran. And was, what did we do? We were feckless back then. We didn't meet it with strength. We met it with strength this time, and Iran has backed down and its proxies have backed down. Now, what they're going to try to do is work through the Iraqi parliament to get us removed from Iraq. That's their ultimate goal. But at the end of the day, they want to dominate the region. The regime is desperate. Mr. President, the maximum pressure campaign is working. Stay strong. And at the end of the day, the regime will either have to come back to the negotiating table from a position of weakness, or it will face internal economic collapse. So what we're doing overall strategically is working, and this is how they're going to lash out.
All right, let's see what happens next. Colonel, Congressman, sir, thank you very much.